Everybody, happy Wednesday. Howard Jacobson here, sick to fit, well start health, plant yourself. And I can take these out. I can still hear, even better. I was listening to a podcast interview that Josh did the other day on Our Hen House. And one of the things he said really struck me hard. He was talking about his transformation. And when people interview him, they always want to know, like, what was the moment when you changed? Like, what was there's a narrative that we have. Maybe it's like a Hollywood thing. Like there's an epiphanous moment or a point of no return or a rock bottom, at which point we suddenly change our trajectory. So people are always asking him, like, what was that moment? And in reality, there wasn't that moment. There were dozens or hundreds of moments, and they moved him in different directions. And when you look at when you sum all the vectors, you get this amazing transformation, but any one wasn't the thing. But he did say something that I found really touching, which was, he had these kind of triple miracles that happened in his life in his late 20s. One was the Saints winning the Super Bowl, which he'd always felt was impossible. A second was going back to college as a non-traditional student and being ready to get, to actually get a degree and not be a dropout loser. And the third was meeting the woman who became his wife, who he'd always felt like he'd have to lose weight in order to have a woman be attracted to him. And here was this beautiful, smart, accomplished woman, and he was, over 400 pounds at his wedding. And what he said that really struck me was, I didn't have to get skinny in order for somebody to love me. And I wrote it down, and I've been thinking about it for a couple of days now. And it's such an important and beautiful and empowering concept. And I want to unpack it a little bit in terms of how we can use that insight on our own journeys. So one of the reasons most of us embark on a journey of change, especially a journey of hard change, especially a journey of change where we are now bucking society. We're no longer going to eat the things that everybody else eats, that get advertised, that are cheap, that are available. And we're going to do hard things with our bodies, like move with some vigor and intensity on a regular basis. We're going to take time out of our already busy lives to focus on these new habits. When we're going to do these hard things, it's usually because we feel like there's a cost to staying stuck where we are. And we often conceptualize it as there's something wrong with me that I need to fix. And I totally get where this comes from, because that's the medical model, right? We want a pill. Hey, doc, there's something wrong with me. I need a pill to fix it. Or, hey, there's something wrong with me. I need you to cut it out of my body or stitch these things together, right? The medical model of procedures and pills is something is wrong with you and we will fix it. And so we can apply food, we can apply lifestyle medicine, we can apply exercise in exactly the same way, with the same consciousness of lack or error or mistake or wrongness or brokenness or inadequacy. There's something wrong with us that needs to be fixed, and we're going to fix it with food. We're going to fix it with exercise. We're going to fix it with meditation. We're going to fix it with a regimented sleep routine. We're going to fix it by going out and being social and by denying ourselves a bunch of stuff. And so the underlying feeling there is, well, I'm not okay the way I am, which is what Josh was saying. Like, I didn't know that I didn't need to get skinny in order to be lovable. I didn't need to be fixed in order to be lovable. And I don't want to talk about other people and their reactions to us, because that's totally out of our hands, right? But let's bring it internally. Did Josh know that he didn't need to get skinny in order to love himself? Hey, Ben. Did he know that he was lovable the way he is? Now we get to a complicated territory, because there is a movement, something called fat acceptance or fat empowerment, where it says like, I am perfect the way I am and I don't need to change and I don't want to change. And so the idea of loving ourselves gets conflated with the idea that because I love myself, I don't want to change. And this is hard for us. It's a little bit of a paradox or an ambiguity. If I love myself, why would I change? If I love myself, why would I want to deny myself my favorite foods or force myself to go to the gym or to get up and go walking in the morning? That doesn't feel loving. It feels, and the way our culture thinks about, eating food and exercising, there's all these jokes about it. Like, yeah, I mean, can't think of any of the jokes off the top of my head, but you know what I'm talking about. That basically, we just want to do the good things. We want to enjoy life, and it's a pity we can't. Why are all the things that we love fattening or immoral or illegal or something like that? So we feel stuck that we either can love ourselves or we can change ourselves, but it doesn't make sense to think about doing both. Well, Josh and I just made a video promoting, discussing, brainstorming the retreat that we're going to be holding in mid-November 2019 in in country like North Carolina, near my home in Pittsburgh. And one of the points that Josh was making was that when you were with a group, it's much easier to start where you are, instead of trying to fake the funk or think like I should be able to do this or I need to be eating like that or pretending that we're already there. Right? On social media, it's very easy to fake things, to posture, to fake the funk, as Josh says, to pretend to be what we're not. And we don't necessarily do it on purpose. Some people do, but we can also fake it with ourselves. And we can, wish we were at a different place. I wish I wasn't so heavy. I wish I had more stamina. I wish that my refrigerator was, cleaner than it is in terms of the quality of the food. I wish I wasn't going out to fast food for lunch 3 times a week. And the effect of not accepting where we are has a couple of problematic aspects to it. One is when you don't accept where you are, just realistically, you can't move, right? Like if I wish if I'm acting as if I'm a different place on the map than the GPS says I am, then the map is ineffective for me. It's not going to be useful. I'm not going to be able to get to where I want to go if I don't acknowledge where I am right now. That you are here dot is not just for maps, it's also for life, for reality. The second thing, though, is, subtler, which is if we distance ourselves from where we are, the message we're sending ourselves is where we really are isn't okay. We're getting back to that brokenness, that inadequacy, that not enoughness, that's something wrong with me, something that needs to be fixed. I'm not lovable to myself. I don't deserve to be loved because of the outcomes that I've produced, because of what this body looks like and feels like. I don't deserve to be loved because of the behaviors I see myself doing every day. And so people come to me for coaching, they come to WellStart, they come to Josh, they come to Sick to Fit with this basic attitude of I need to be fixed because I'm not good enough as I am. I'm not the person I want to be. And again, there's a huge difference between I'm not the person I want to be and I don't love myself as I am, who I am right now. The only way to move forward is to get rid of that feeling of lack, of inadequacy, of blame, of self-evaluation. So it's weird to say because we want to evaluate. Results dictate sufficiency. It's one of our favorite sayings in Sick to Fit. So we always want to be looking and comparing the things we're doing, the outcomes we're getting, and if they are congruent with what we want those outcomes to be. But that's very different from self-evaluation. self-judgment. When we judge ourselves, or when we feel like we are being judged, we are being placed in a hierarchy of, are you this, are you good, are you not good, are you the best, are you the worst? We are in a neurological state of defense. And when we are in a neurological state of defense, several things are not possible. One of them is like healing, right? If you're spending all your money on your army, you don't have enough money to spend on road construction, on teachers, on social workers, and all that stuff. Another thing that happens when we're in defense is that we lack creativity, because defensiveness is a reactionary stance against some danger in the world. Creativity is much more open. The third thing that happens when we are in a defensive neurological state is that we are unable to socially engage with other people, because when we are defensive, everything looks like offense. And it's other people making us feel warm and safe and cuddly and loved and belong that counteracts most of the impulses that we have to eat foods that don't serve us, to act out, to use behaviors to regulate our state, as opposed to using what is supposed to regulate our state, which is positive, loving, safe interactions with other humans, or as Stephen Porges puts it and said in the interview that I did with him today, which will be released next week, with other mammals, right? Because for a lot of us, it's hard to interact with humans, but we love our cats and our dogs, and the pictures of those little baby cows and goats, and if we have horses around or dolphins, right? There's something about a mammalian interaction that can make us feel safe. We don't get that when we are self-evaluating, when we are finding ourselves wanting. So how do we do this? How do we drop that self-evaluation when it comes up? Here's what we shouldn't do. Oh my God, I was just evaluating myself. Bad, Howie. Don't evaluate yourself. Oh, I did it again. I just evaluated my self-evaluation. This is terrible. I shouldn't be doing this. I know better. Right? So that's a recursive loop straight into hell. What we can do is notice the evaluation and then understand where it comes from. It's when we self-evaluate and call ourselves bad, we are trying to preempt other people from doing it to us. We're calling ourselves out because we fear someone else is standing there with the knife or the sword. We want to take the knife or sword from them, stab ourselves, because at least we have control, give it back to them, and then say, see, you didn't have to do it. I did it to myself. Right? The thing that we fear most is isolation, is marginalization, is not being part of the group. For mammals, especially for hominid mammals, for humans, not being part of the group is death. And so we want to do anything we can to preempt other people from marginalizing us, from putting us down. So we'll do it to ourselves. And when we do that, we separate ourselves from others. We separate ourselves from our creativity. We lose the ability to respond in novel and generative ways to all the old triggers. Right? Oh, I ate badly. I had a cheeseburger today. Now I'm going to judge myself. I'm a bad person. I don't have willpower. Now I feel ashamed. I want to separate myself I don't want other people to see me. I feel bad. My state is unpleasant. I need a cheeseburger. And so on, and so on, and so on. So the way out is to say, oh, I just felt self-judgment. I just felt an evaluation of myself very negatively for eating that cheeseburger. I have to understand where that comes from. That comes from this defensive place. Now, what I can do with that is say, oh yeah, my body sent a signal that I interpreted with the higher parts of my brain as I'm a bad person. I can let that go. And then when I do that, what am I left with? I'm left with information about the cheeseburger. Real information, not a judgment. I'm left with my belly hurts. I have nausea. I feel heavy. I feel fog-like in my thinking. It didn't even taste that good after the first bite. Now we've got data upon which to act, as opposed to a story, a narrative that puts us in an isolated defensive posture. So I'm not saying you're not going to feel those immediate, instant feelings of self-judgment. The question is, what do we do with them? We can wallow in them, which then leads us to act out, or we can recognize that they come from a defensive neurology, accept them, accept the self-judgment, which breaks the cycle of self-judgment. The minute we have a molecule of acceptance, the whole thing breaks down. It's a house of cards. And we're simply left with our fast assessment. What am I feeling? How am I acting? What am I sensing in my body? What am I thinking? And now we've got tools and we've got the ability to make decisions. So what I wish for all of us is not to eliminate that kind of negative, judging mindset. This isn't about, brainwashing ourselves. This isn't about overriding anything. It's about wherever we are, starting where we are, accepting where we are, and recognizing that the only thing we need to do to be lovable is to love ourselves. And all the other good things can follow from there. All right, thanks for watching. Look forward to any comments, questions you guys have. Remember that retreat. I'll put a link to it. We're taking enrollment interviews because we're going to be personally, interviewing, chatting with everyone who wants to come to make sure it's a good fit. I'll put a link below this video wherever you're watching it, in either in YouTube or LinkedIn or Facebook, any of those pages. And I hope if this is a good fit and if it's something you'd want to be part of, we'd love to explore whether it's a right fit. All right. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great day.